Well, that was the Prime Minister making an emphatic speech over there right before the monsoon session of Parliament is set to begin from 11 a.m. Both the houses, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, is set with their agenda and business of the day, while the opposition has their agenda in place. But the Prime Minister in his speech made some very, very pertinent and emotional moments of references. And my colleague Brijesh Pandey, who is the input editor, is joining me right now to put more perspective on what the Prime Minister said. Brijesh, it is a Vijay Utsav is what the Prime Minister primarily maintained when it comes to the monsoon session. He spoke about India's prowess when it comes to the space mission, but more importantly, he took this opportunity to underscore how the Pahalgam attack was this entire carnage. It drew the attention of the world. It sent shockwaves across the world, and how all opposition parties, keeping all their personal politics aside, decided to come together to traverse across the world to put India's narrative on terrorism and counter-terrorism at that to the entire world. And the same unity is what the Prime Minister has urged the people of the MPs of both the houses to have it reflected in the House during the session.
Well, I think, the Prime Minister has literally set the agenda as far as this monsoon session of Parliament is concerned, Samya. He ticked all the boxes, on which people expected him to talk about. He talked about the monsoon, the weather which is going on, as to how it is extremely important as far as economy is concerned. But then he went on to the most important issue. He spoke about Operation Sindoor. And he went on to add that how, the world saw India's might. And not only India's might, when the army decided, when the Indian armed forces decided, within 22 minutes, they were able to decimate the entire terror infra as well as also key military installation as far as Pakistan is concerned. He also talked about, the Make in India campaign, which was one of the shining underline as far as the Operation Sindoor was concerned. He's saying now how the Made in India make a big impact, and post that how the world, other countries in the world are now looking at weaponry which is being made by Indian PSUs, and they are lining in queues to, to buy them. Other than that, the other important point he was talking about was Naxalism, because that is one key important area of which the government has been talking of for a very long time. And if you look at the way that, the number of top Naxal leaders have been neutralized and the kind of success security force has, this itself is no mean feat. And he spoke about that. He also spoke about, as you mentioned, about, how the carnage of Pahalgam shook the entire world, and how they were taken aback by the sheer cruelty that was inflicted on those 28 innocent people who were killed in Pahalgam. And most importantly, the Prime Minister also talked to the opposition leaders, saying that, that you should be talking about, you should raise any issue, but there should be debate and not stalling of the House. Now, I'm not 100% sure whether, the opposition parties or the opposition MPs are going to pay heed to what the Prime Minister is saying, especially the last part. But one thing is very clear, that he has set the agenda, and it will be very interesting to see, how the chair, whether he takes up the German motion or whether he says that, you can raise it after question hours. All of that we will be seeing it, I guess, in another half an hour, less than half an hour's time, 11 o'clock, when both the houses of Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha convene. So it's going to be an extremely interesting, and fascinating sessions as far as Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha is concerned. Samya?
Absolutely, Brijesh. But he also mentioned how digital India has been thriving. He mentions how the world is looking towards the maximum digital transactions being carried out in India, and that sets an example for the world when it comes to fintech. He also mentions about low inflation coupled with higher growth, which wasn't there in the previous government. He has tried to underline India's economic growth also, saying that when he took charge in 2014, India stood at the 10th position when it comes to its economic ranking, but now India is fast marching towards the 3rd position. So clearly, as far as the income tax bill also, which is expected to be taken up in the Parliament in this session, all these aspects are bound to be highlighted and factored in.
Absolutely, and I think this is the reason why I said that Prime Minister has ticked all the right boxes. He spoke about monsoon, he spoke about Pahalgam, he spoke about Operation Sindoor. He also spoke about, as you just mentioned, about the cashless transactions, the digital transaction, which has overtaken us. Like it's running in the multitude of crores, and it is being seen as a huge digital triumph as far as this cashless transactions are concerned. And he also spoke about about how India's rapid rise economically, from number 10 through number 3 is concerned. I think, the Prime Minister has set the agenda for the monsoon session, and it's going to be extremely interesting to see how the opposition reacts to it, because opposition has made it very clear. They have given adjournment notices to the chair of both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha about how they want to discuss Pahalgam terror attack first. They want to discuss Operation Sindoor as is concerned. They want to talk about, about the kind of statement which is the United States President Donald Trump has been making about is that he has made this statement at least more than 10-15 times about how he is the one who has brokered peace between India and Pakistan. So, both sides are ready with the agenda. Now, we know for sure what is the agenda of the government as far as this monsoon session is concerned. It's about monsoon, it's about the kind of financial jump which India has seen in the last 10 years, ever since Prime Minister has become, Mr. Modi has become the Prime Minister of the country from 2014 onwards. Also spoke about Naxals, also about, a very interesting thing which I highlighted is about the contribution of all these all over the member of parliaments, who rose above the narrow political consideration and presented India's view to the world, and was seen as a big diplomatic success as far as, India's stand vis-a-vis Pahalgam terror attack and also Operation Sindoor is concerned. So I think, the task is clearly cut out as far as the opposition party is concerned, how they want to go about it, because I don't see, a dull moment as far as this monsoon session of Parliament is concerned. Samya?
Absolutely. Brajesh, I'll request you to kindly stay with us. I'm also joined by senior Congress leader, Mr. Rashid Alvi, right now over here at News9. Mr. Alvi, good morning. Thank you for taking the time and joining us over here at News9. The Prime Minister made an emphatic speech before the monsoon session of Parliament. He has thanked all the opposition party leaders to stand in unity when India needed it the most. That is, when they went travelling across the world to put out India's narrative on counter-terrorism after the Pahalgam attack. Now, this is something that the Congress party has time and again held against their own leader, Mr. Shashi Tharoor. What is going to be the Congress's agenda now, Mr. Alvi, in both the houses of the Parliament?
We appreciate if he's appreciating opposition, and definitely all opposition parties and the entire country were supporting this Sindoor operation. But important thing is, and I'm sure that so many questions shall be raised in the Parliament, whether Government of India has achieved what Prime Minister had promised to this nation. From day one, I am asking whether the goal of this government was to destroy certain buildings or are all Athankwadis. I think you remember it. It was our Prime Minister who promised to destroy all terrorists. He said, घर में घुस के मारेंगे, आतंकियों की बची कुची जमीन को खत्म कर देंगे. And simply I had asked one question, whether Hafiz Saeed is alive or you have killed him. Whether Azhar Masood is alive or you have killed him. All these terrorists are alive still. So what was the object of this operation? And now
undermine the entire Operation Sindoor, where in a targeted attack they've managed to eliminate a large number of terrorists to avenge the Operation Pahalgam attack. Do you feel that this is not the right time to question the Prime Minister when it comes to national security and what they have not managed to achieve as opposed to the Operation Sindoor that was a success?
Listen to me. First of all, when one question was asked from our Foreign Secretary, then he said regarding the 5 fighter jets, whether our fighter jets were shot down by Pakistan or not. He said, at an appropriate time I will answer. Why are you not saying yes or no? When this question was asked by our national security advisor, he said, not even a glass is broken. our army officers are saying, हमारा नुकसान हुआ है. You just tell me, let me know to whom we should believe. Advisor, foreign secretary, army officer.
Right.
Now, the statement given by Prime Minister.